What's up, man?
Not a whole heck of a lot. How you doing, man?
Pretty good.
That's what I
Just
wanted to hear.
wrapping up the end of the day, all the news of the week. We're here to tell you what to think about.
Yes, yeah, for real. I'm gonna tell you what we think about it. Therefore, what you think about it. Let's go.
The news media is a beast that must be fed. We're here to give it. Man, I guess uh, my biggest news that I didn't know was even that even happened this week was Jim Steinman died.
Oh, I missed that. That sucks,
Yeah,
man.
he passed away on the 19th. It's just one of those things that, you know, you just don't realize how big that dude was because you say the name Jen Steinman. I'm sure most everybody knows the Meatloaf songs, but there's a list on RollingStone.com, the 10 essential Jen Steinman songs, and it's crazy just how much stuff. And of course now it's gonna crap out on me and refresh, but it's worth going and looking up just because not only did he the work he did with Meatloaf as uncool as it might sound, man, the Bonnie Tyler stuff he did,
Oh hell yeah, man.
and those I freaking love, but the uncool stuff that you know I have those moments when the Celine Dion song "It's All Coming Back to Me Now"
Yeah.
is one of his. I'm like, good God, that's a good song.
Um. Yeah. It's all coming back to me now. It only irks me because I know I should remember this woman's name, but it was the lady, the super ungodly famous woman that toured with Meatloaf.
Hmm.
Paradise by Dashboard Lights. What was the other huge one that she was on, man? But basically, the callback.
That's
Do
the
you
one that I always think of when
do you
shoot
do you love me? Will you love me forever? That lady.
Ellen
Imagine her.
Foley.
Thank you. Imagine her singing that song, and I'm with you. It's great then, because Celine's just a little too dramatic for my taste. I just don't like her voice.
Hmm.
But I appreciate that song, and I'm with you. I'm like, God, I can't imagine what that song would be if it was or Bonnie Tyler, man. Bonnie Tyler would have killed that song.
Yeah.
So yes, but yeah, it's like the big. My buddy John Carmen, uh, loved Meatloaf, but it was Jim Steinman he was obsessed with, and
Yeah.
you're exactly right. I mean, we talked about all that stuff, but that sucks. I had no idea that he had passed, man. I gotta listen to Bat Out of Hell tonight, man. Make me feel
Oh
better.
heck yeah, man.
Yeah, dude.
That's uh, definitely worth a listen to if you haven't. Man, he's done something with just about everybody. Uh, he recorded his own song, "Bad for Good," uh,
Cool.
uh, in the early '80s. Like what you're talking about, "Paradise by the Dashboard Light," 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Uh, and yeah, man, so that's anyway. It's one of those things that just kind of struck me as I got to mention that.
Yeah, totally, man.
But man, I guess like most people, had to. I sat down and I watched the Oscar show tonight, and it was one of those that got going, and it looked really good because all you heard about leading up to the show is like, oh, Steven Soderbergh's directing the show this year. It's gonna look like a movie. It's gonna be his tribute to the movies. It looked great, but it was boring as shit. Was my review of it, and not only that, but it just felt like the people they were kind of like, could you act like you want to be there for a second?
Award season is a long slog, and
Yeah,
everybody's been nominated for the same stuff. They're tired. They're ready to go on.
I think that was a big part of it. Just kind of, I just had that feeling of like, as neat as some of the stuff was, it was like, that ain't that neat. You know?
Maybe I'm wondering if like A-listers and whatnot are getting a little bit worn out of this stuff because anytime the Hollywood literati, if you will, get together and pat themselves on the asses and talk about how great they are. My Twitter feed is really toxic today. So yeah, it's gonna be because there are tons of people on Twitter that aren't real people that like to talk shit about everything. There are also people that get really resentful of stuff like that because it's like, dude, I don't need to see you. I just don't need to see this shit. Who cares? It's an award that you guys give each other and yourselves. And I love the Oscars typically. It's weird. It's like we were talking about earlier, man. The Oscars don't have the same pull for me they used to, just mainly because the SAG Awards and the God, I said it earlier. It's not the Emmys. It's the
The Golden
Golden
Globes.
Globes. Yeah, look, man. There's only one way to say it. I said it earlier. I'm sorry to be repetitive. TV owns Hollywood right now. TV is
Yeah.
just better. It's just better. So if you've got TV awards, it's interesting, and I will happily tune in and see what you got. But I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm still ticked off that I keep forgetting her name, Jessie Buckley. I think it's so stupid, but I'm like taking her not being nominated for anything, not out on the Oscars because it was all of them, but not a single nomination. I'm not saying she should have won, but you got to be kidding me, man. It just sucks because it's one of those things that I can already tell you, and we'll get into this stuff later as well. The reason it ticks me off is because I'm arrogant enough to know, or arrogant enough to say, I've done this often enough to know, and I'm arrogant enough to say that it's one of those things. It's going to be Synecdoche, New York. When you watch that movie and you tell people, yeah, in 10 years, everyone's going to be talking about how great this was, that's what's going to happen. You and I use the Andy Kaufman example all the time. What Jesse Buckley was able to do in that movie, 5 years from now, everyone will be literally having to like squash their, you know, I don't know what a metaphysical erection over talking about how great it is because it was fantastic, and I'm like, I'm gonna be mad as hell when y'all start gushing over that bullshit because I don't know. Hopefully, I'll be over it by then, and I can just enjoy it and be like, cool. I'm glad people finally caught up and realized how good she was because it was. I thought the assignment that basically both the leads in that movie drew was damn near impossible, and they both did really good work, but her job was harder, and she killed it. It's just I'm being dumb, but that was my big hang up. Like, you guys got it wrong, and I shouldn't say that because the nominees, most of the things that were nominated during award season, but especially tonight, man, I haven't seen any of them, so I really shouldn't say it like that.
I guess what could to go kind of like with what you're saying. I'm one of those people that maybe it's a fault of mine, but one of the absolute worst things you could do say to me is when I tell you something, whether it's whether we're working, whether we're playing, whether we're doing whatever.
Whether we're alive,
Uh,
pal.
we're live, pal. What one of the absolute worst decisions you could make is when I tell you something to come back to me the next day, a week, a month, say, you know what, you were right. That's not going to go well. It never has. The times that I've had to have that conversation. I don't need you to tell me that. I knew then.
people people actually come back to you and tell you you were right because I've never had that happen. The way it happens for me is people wait 6 months, repackage it with two or three flowery words, and try to pretend like they fucking came up with it. That's how
Yeah.
I always have it happen.
It's few and far between, but
Yeah.
it has gone down. But at every time, I'm just like, it's the rage fest. It's one. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm saying it's a problem I have.
Oh
The
God.
times that it's happened,
Mm.
it it is seeing red
Dude,
kind of
I,
thing.
I literally, again, I had this very same thing happen to me earlier today, man. We'll get into it later. But my issue with it, more so than it happening, it ain't that it happened. It's that I hate the fucking way I react to that stuff. I just hate it because I'm just like, man, you got to let this shit go. I used to say it all the time, man. My dad was, it's not that my dad was a workaholic. I mean, he was pretty close, but it wasn't really that. It's just that he had a crap ton. He really, really gave a shit that what he put his time into, like for work, was good. Like my dad's shit was going to be quality because he just put a lot of himself into his work. And it used to always drive him crazy when other people wouldn't. And it's like, you can't hold them to yours. It's like Jordan. People always kiss Michael Jordan on his ass. Well, he held his teammates to a higher standard. They're not as good as you, man. Magic was. The guys on the Dream Team were. Scotty was. And even Michael had to begrudgingly admit that. He didn't do it very often, but Phil put it in his book. So, gotcha, Mike. It's in the book, man. But that's a cool story. Phil told that story in one of his million books, that after the Olympics, that was the thing after the Dream Team was that, I mean, right after they had won too. And what he was trying to do was put Michael over as a competitor, because he was. Everyone knows he was, and it was just another story to go along with. Yeah, everything you thought about Michael and his competitive streak is true. Let me tell you how. Excuse me. They had just gone to Spain, won the gold medal, dominated everybody, set ratings records, turned the world onto basketball. And all Michael wanted to talk about was like, man, Phil, we're ready, man. I'm telling you, Scotty, what Scotty was doing in camp, I'm telling you, we're ready to go. We're ready to go. And it's like, that's cool, man. It's a cool story. I like that story. But, you know, Mike might not have nice things to say about Scotty now, but he knew it then. It was just like, yeah, man, that's deputy's a bad sucker, man. Let's go. It's groovy. I think that's kind of cool. And that tied in somehow, but anyway, I'm sorry. I've got way sidetracked. But that was my thing, is I'm tired of reacting to things crappily, so I'm sorry.
In terms of Oscars and Academy Awards, which are pretty much opinion based, I'm, you know, even when I'm telling you, hey, I think you're gonna like this movie, you know, I can handle that a lot better when it's kind of like, it's not factual stuff, but it kind of it tries to creep in. So all my Oscar predictions, I was pretty much 50-50 on. Uh, not, not a good night.
Oscar
Everything.
predictions. Oscar predictions are
That's
like
part of the fun.
yeah. Oscar predictions are like batting average, man. I think you did pretty good. 500's amazing.
I mean, there were 10 categories that I looked at and said, that's definitely going to win. And
Damn
I
it.
got five, and I got five of them.
Hey, that's
Son of a bitch.
hey, dude. That's all right, man. I didn't guess any, but that's all it would have been was guesses. So hey, you did better than me, man. I don't think I could have possibly plucked five. So like everything just a minute ago when I looked up who won, I'm like, oh okay, oh all right, oh okay. I was like surprised by everything. So I think you did much better than I would have.
uh, the stuff I got right was I got Best Supporting Actress was June Jong Yori from Minari, Daniel Kaluuya from Judas and the Black Messiah. I got Best Director Chloe Zhao from Nomadland. I got Nomadland for Best Picture, and Soul Best Animated Feature.
I think Soul's the only one I would have got right out of those.
and uh, and one of the things I thought was quite, I hate when that's I, I don't like to use the word hate. One of the things I do not like is I watch some of these people's YouTube videos, or I'll just be talking to somebody in everyday conversation, and somebody will say, interesting, when it's not interesting at all. It's just something unusual. Don't make it interesting. Anyway, one of the things that they did this year that was a bit of a break from tradition was my whole life, or at least since I've been watching the Academy Awards come into my consciousness, the guarantee order of events is Best Pictures last. Usually, Best Director, Actor Awards, the Lead Actor Awards, Best Picture. Mike could put Best Director and switch the Actor Awards, however, depending on the year. The Best Picture goes last. That's something they switched up this year, which made me think, oh, my prediction's going to be right. Because I thought, even more so, uh, Nomadland wins Best Picture. We still have Best Actor, Best Actress to go. Best Actress is the next to last award, which I'm like, it's the I'm gonna end up at least 6 out of 10 when they have the Chadwick Boseman uh, a-thon, and they end up giving it to uh, Frances McDormand. Frances McDormand wins for Best Actress, which I had. Who did I say was going to win that? I had Viola Davis winning for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and Best Actor went to Anthony Hopkins, which is for The Father. And another thing to point out about the movie The Father, I had given my other one of my 10 that I was like certain was going to go best original screenplay. Well, I thought certain that was going to go to Aaron Sorkin for uh, the Black the Chicago 7 movie. It went to the guys that wrote The Father. So I'm like, um, but so anyway, Anthony Hopkins wins Best Actor, and it's not that he wasn't there and could do it through Zoom. He didn't even do that. He just so it was like it kind of ended on a whimper. It was kind of I sat here for 3 hours. Oh Christ! Well, I've got a problem. I've got a serious problem.
My gut reactions to both of those things. One of them, I guess I shouldn't say gut, is because we talked about it earlier, but then something just occurred to me. You make a good point. Best original screenplay. Trial of Chicago 7, right? I mean, as far as what you thought might have a chance to win.
That's what I had ticked
Yeah.
to win, and then that was in the category with The Father, and The Father
Yeah.
won.
And Best Actress.
Let me. It's I'm sorry, I got it wrong. Original screenplay was Emerald Fennell for Promising Young Woman. It was adapted screenplay. It went to
excellent.
Christopher Hampton and Florian Zeller for The Father. So I got them reversed.
That's okay.
My bad.
It's all right, because basically the reason I'm asking is to just point out that Aaron Sorkin, everybody's favorite screenwriter, didn't win. And Borat, who everybody has liked to throw in as their little curveball, didn't win. And Viola Davis didn't win, and Chadwick Boseman didn't win. Okay. What does Borat, subsequent movie film, and what the hell? I just said it a minute ago. Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and God, I'm sorry, we were just talking about it and I forgot it. Anyway, the point is, this is the thing, and I'm with you. When it goes on last, I would probably assume they wanted to have a nice memorial to Chadwick Boseman too. But this is the thing that drives people, I think. Some people hate Hollywood because that was so pretentious and all this money and la-di-da. And some people really hate it because it's so insincere. That's what I think this is. Because Chadwick Boseman was in that movie, he was real good in that movie, and then he died, and you would like to have your nice, fantastic moment of honoring Chadwick. But the problem is, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom was a Netflix production, and the Academy still don't like Netflix.
Yeah.
Nobody in Hollywood likes Netflix. So if you think that wasn't a factor, okay. Like I said, there's one of two things. They either want to sock it to Netflix, or they were just trying to melt Twitter down, because if you piss off a lot of people, they'll all jump on Twitter and all piss and moan about it, and then you win for the night because they call them like we've talked about before. They call them impressions for a reason. Positive doesn't matter. Likes don't matter. Retweets don't matter. Quotes don't matter. Just interact with it. It all counts. They don't care. It's all money to them one way or the other. So either way, whatever you're going for sucks one way or the other. But yeah, all that Hollywood, yeah, man, Chadwick Boseman, he's a legend, and he's also black, and Black Lives Matter, and we in Hollywood think so, but fuck Netflix. All of that stuff tracks, every bit of it, and that type of hypocrisy, where you would lovingly give that guy the award if it was a political statement, but see, Netflix is costing me money, so fuck that. That's what liberalism actually is. People get so mad when I tell them this, but it's true. You hear the term neoliberalism a lot, And for some reason, I'm guessing it's just because of the way liberals are, the people in politics that term is used for. Okay, liberalism and neoliberalism are completely different things. And it's not that, well, one means someone that politically thinks this, and one means someone that politically means that. It's not even that at all. One is a term about political ideology, the other is about economic ideology. Neoliberalism is just the proper noun for Reaganomics. And people do not believe you when you tell them, oh, he wasn't no liberal. No, he was. He absolutely was. And the fact that his economic policy was neoliberalism, if you think that's not the reason he jumped on the term liberal and demonized the holy blue fuck out of it, you're wrong. That's exactly why he did it. It's crazy, but it's true. It's a little funky little history note that people don't believe. I mean, the people don't believe that, but it's true. That's literally that's not my opinion. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's the way it is. But that point of like liberals, political liberals, and the reason people hate them so much is because they talk a good game, and we want everybody to have a nice, cozy place to live, and yeah, we like the idea of raising the minimum wage, but what's that going to do to my taxes? That's what liberals are, and that's why people fucking hate them. It's why conservatives hate them. It's why people on the right hate them, because conservatives and right are the right's a big thing. You can't just say conservative.
Yeah.
Conservatives hate them. People on the right hate them, and people that are progressives and on the left hate them too. That's why, because I want everyone to be happy and healthy and wonderful and awesome, unless it's going to cost me a dime. And it's one of the reasons they suck so bad, because when conservatives say that shit, at least they're shooting straight with you. Conservatives are like, don't charge me for nothing. I don't want to pay for anyone to do anything other than my family, because that's my thing, and la-di-da. Some people don't like that, but it's okay that you don't like it. They're telling you point blank, this is who I am. Liberals feel that way, but they don't want to say it, and that's why people can't stand them. Anyway, that was a long dissection or post-mortem on what economic term or what I'm sorry, political terms mean. With a little economy in there too. Fantastic. But that's anyway. That it sucks. But that's my point about the Academy's not giving Chadwick Boseman an award. Is I fucking promise you, if Ma Rainey's Black Bottom had been produced by any other studio, it would have been fine. But the fact that it's the bane of your existence, oh God, because we don't like HBO Max. But we fucking hate Netflix because, well, we're just going to stop putting movies on Netflix, and they haven't slowed down a fucking bit, have they? But they don't have The Office anymore. It's over. You fucked up. You fucked up, man. You're not catching them, or you're not putting them under, is what I should say, man. It's all good. Be unhappy about it and be all grovelly and pissy and whiny and give Anthony Hopkins an award. But that's another thing on behalf of Anthony Hopkins. He can sniff that shit out. Why the fuck am I going to show up and shit on Chadwick Boseman because you guys have a fucking grudge against a movie studio? Fuck you, man. Doesn't help me any. Doesn't make me any money. It doesn't make me look good. And you're having me shit on a fellow professional thespian who maybe I kind of dug the work of. So fuck and you. That's my Anthony Hopkins impression. It was great, wasn't it?
Flawless. All the award shows of the season and this past weekend, I think the movie, after it's all said and done, that I want to see the most is The Sound of Metal. And that's the movie. Talk about movies that I going into the weekend I hadn't heard enough about, but it's the story of the musician in a rock band who is going deaf, and what he can do with that, and it's something about it. It was it had a good night at the film Independent Spirit Awards. I don't know when the name of that award show changed. It always been the Independent Spirit Awards, but now it's the Film Independent Spirit Awards. They hammered that home the other night listening to. And anyway, the sound of Metal is the one that I came away from this weekend wanting to see the most, I think. So I got that on my list of stuff to check out.
Excuse me, I don't remember what it was I saw that I had to add to the old list. It was I usually the only Oscar winners I try and really go out of my way to watch are best original screenplay and then international feature. So another round. That was it. I knew I'd saved the picture of it.
That definitely looked interesting from the clip
Yeah,
they showed.
yeah, that's cool, man. I thought, yeah, I gotta check this one out. That'll be cool. But it's
Oh God, the guy's acceptance speech that accepted that award is worth looking up. Just what happened during the making of that movie is it's not even fair for anybody else to tell.
oh, that's
It's
awesome, man.
it's his story, and it is not good. It's a bummer, but nonetheless worth seeking out, worth looking
Yeah,
into.
yeah, man.
Tragic uh, story with the making of that movie.
I gotta check it out even more now. I gotta watch the acceptance speech first though, man. See what I'm getting myself into.
Yeah,
Anyway,
man.
you're good to let me veer off. But seriously, I hadn't even thought about that earlier. But it's all like, oh, I know what the other one was Anya Taylor Joy, Little Miss Everything. Queen's Gambit was everywhere. She didn't even get nominated, did she? Wonder
No,
why. Wonder
no.
why. And see, that's my point. Is like I know it sounds stupid, but I guess my point is the people that I know that hate Hollywood and la di da is what I'm saying. Does it sound excessively petty? I don't think it does. It sounds exactly par for the course for Hollywood to me. Again, like I said, it's just liberalism. It's just liberalism. I want everyone to be happy and lovely, and I love art as long as it doesn't cost me anything. And Netflix is costing me money, and they piss me off. So fuck them and fuck Chadwick Boseman and fuck everyone that has anything to do with them. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds more like the Hollywood that I know, because what I just described can be washed away in this here country with one simple phrase. It's just business. There you go.
Mm.
And Hollywood's fucking business. You better goddamn well believe. I don't give a fuck how much you hate them because they're wacky liberals and they're just all crazy California hippies and they just want to smoke weed and fuck each other and it's disgusting. Well, there ain't never been no Hollywood bailout, has there? Why is that? Because that's how industries fucking work. And unfortunately, they can talk good game on all that emotional bullshit, but at the end of the day, they're going to make the decision that makes them money. So when the competitor comes in and starts kicking them in their fucking rosy red ass, they get pissy and they get petty. And that now I think the Oscar smattering makes a lot more sense.
Man, had that go down this weekend. There was also some Impact pay per view that I didn't bother to watch.
Yeah, I didn't need the same thing. We talked about it before, man, where I just can't do that price tag. I'm not dropping 50 for anybody. It's like I have yet to pay for a single AEW pay per view. Um, it's just not my thing. It's all good, and also, I mean, you can get the results, which is fine. But if you want to follow along, there's so many people on YouTube that do watch alongs. You can totally do that.
Mhm.
And unfortunately, I didn't do that either. I was trying to check in a little bit and see what was going on. I mean, dick that I am, I was waiting on one thing. And everything that I heard, it was like front to back, the pay per view was fantastic. So that's
So
awesome.
that's
I'm
good to hear.
glad that the show was so good and that people that really follow Impact and were invested in the stories and invested in wanting it to be successful, I'm glad they were so happy with it. The guys I was watching, I'm sorry, I do not remember their names. It was three dudes and they were just talking. And the first guy gave the show a point blank 10 and he was trying to explain take Kenny and Rich out of the equation. That's why it gets a 10 because the rest of the show was exactly what I wanted it to be and it was great and the pacing was good and I was excited and I cared and it was all good. When you add Kenny and Rich, which if it ain't a match of the year candidate, you're too biased to live. I'm like, all right then, this is what I wanted to hear, which totally makes sense because we've talked about it, man. We've seen Kenny, I love Kenny. Seen Rich Swan, love Rich Swan. So glad that guy was able to bounce back on that bullshit. There's still people that are like, well, they did Enzo wrong, and they're not wrong. They did do Enzo wrong, but not as wrong as they did Rich Swan.
Yeah.
But it worked out okay because Rich saw his opportunity to walk through that exit door and get a big old paycheck on the way out the door. And good for him, man, because he's turned it into just positive shit. I love that guy. So I'm glad it went as well as it did. Yeah, I'm with you. I can't comment on it because I haven't seen it. But I'm glad the people that watched it were happy with it because that's just cool, man. But anyway, that was what I was complaining about. Is now all of a sudden you got people on the internet talking about how with the belt consolidation and champion versus champion. Can you imagine if they do that in the Tokyo Dome? And I'm like, welcome to this show 2 years ago because you and I have said from day one, and I'll stand by it because hey, guess what's on YouTube? The archive. That's the idea. This has always, dude, just study the Golden Lovers. This much, just that much. This has been Kenny and Kota Ibushi's idea forever. They're just in a position now to where they might actually pull this effing thing off, which is totally killer and wonderful and great. It's awesome, man. And as far as this is something stupid, but we'll transition into Mickey James getting her stuff sent to her in a trash bag and Triple H and Stephanie apologizing for it and all that good stuff. And I do wish that instead of giving Triple H a hard time about it, because he doesn't run the goddamn company, Phil. Sorry, I know you hate him, and so we're all supposed to hate him too, but why don't you point blank say, this is on Vince's watch? Vince thinks shit like this is funny, so his boys think it's funny, so of course it's going to happen. But why do Triple H and Stephanie jump out and say, Mickey, that's terrible, we'll take care of it, we're going to fire that guy? Well, I will tell you why. They're not concerned about AEW. They took NXT off of Wednesdays and put it on Tuesdays because now they know it's not competition. They don't care. They're not worried about it. They're not concerned. And I'm like, God damn, I hope you stretched before you did that floor routine. But whatever. That's not the point. The reason they are addressing this stuff now, the reason they're talking about this stuff now, it's got nothing to do with your Randall Keith Ortons or your Adam Copelands or your AJ Styles or anybody else that's in the company now. You can talk all you want to about they're not competition, AEW's not competition. Well, they fucking will be when it comes time to sign people in your coming waves over the next decade, 15, 20-year period. If the universal statement is that, yeah, this is the better place to work, good luck.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say it to you this way. If you tomorrow could go to work for Walmart or Costco, who the fuck you going to work for? Just based off of reputation. That's what they're trying to get out in front of because it's got nothing to do with who the rosters are now. It's got to do with who the rosters are going to be. And you will be in competition with people fighting over the same folks because the independent people, yes, that's who WWE signs, whether people believe it or not. That's where they come from. You need to let people know that, yeah, we're not all old school horseshit trolls here. We're not all terrible fucking people that get our kicks out of putting our boot on people's foreheads and squishing them. That's what that is. 100%. That's what that is. And the main thing that drives me so crazy about, well, Triple H will never run the company. It'll be Shane or Stephanie or maybe Bruce Pritchard. Bruce Pritchard might get the company.
That'll definitely be a nosedive.
Paul Levesque is the only goddamn adult that I just named. He is the only person in that conversation that has any intelligence whatsoever. And I'll tell you why. Bruce Pritchard would have to be surgically removed from Vince McMahon's colon before you could even have a conversation with him. And the other two people, their last names are McMahon, right? Okay, let me tell you something. If affluenza is an acceptable defense to murder somebody with your car, then you can better goddamn well believe it's a real fucking thing. Stephanie and Shane have no idea how to run a business because they've never had to fucking worry about it. Triple H is not rich. Don't believe it. Hunter Hearst Helmsley is a fucking character. It's not a real thing. So this is somebody that looks at business as business. That's the guy. It's going to be great. Things will be awesome when we can get to the point where everybody is really out there trying to make that money again. Competition's good for business. Yeah, it is when it's actual competition. Subsidies aren't competition. Anyway, I got way sidetracked once again. But I thought that story was interesting because they jumped out so quick to be like, no, this is asshole behavior. We're not doing this. Now, Vince is under his desk grabbing his stomach because he's laughing so fucking hard. Because who's going to do anything to Vince? Well, fuck that old man. He's almost dead, thank God. And I know it's, CM Punk was talking about how much better WWE would be when Vince died. Yeah, A, he's not wrong. And B, he still went the fuck back, didn't he? Who the fuck wants to hear anything from CM Punk these days? What the fuck, man? The only thing he said right recently was, who's the best promo in wrestling? Eddie Kingston. I'm like, who the fuck didn't know that? Did you need CM Punk to tell you Eddie Kingston's the best fucking promo in wrestling? Because if you did, you've never seen Eddie Kingston.
Thank you.
That's my point. If you did, you haven't seen Eddie Kingston. So if what Punk wound up doing was getting people to turn the TV show on to look at Eddie Kingston, good for him, because now's a real good time. Because if you turn over and see Eddie, you say, oh, that's Dean Ambrose. And maybe you stick around for a little bit. So good on him. That's cool. Anyhow, got way sidetracked, man. But I just, that stuff is ridiculous. The whole, here's your fucking trash bag full of shit. Have fun. It's like, man, fuck y'all. The whole deal, it's Mark Carrano. It's Mark Carrano's fault. This is from top down. Y'all know it is. Stop it. They just wanted to get rid of Carrano because they hired Johnny Ace back and they're just trying to save money. It's the same thing, or a similar thing, that you and I talked about with ESPN firing Paul Pierce. Y'all can pretend it was about the dancer lady in the background or his, I don't know if I think he was smoking weed or whatever the hell he was drinking, whatever he was doing, whatever he had going on in the background, you know, his, oh my God, Paul Pierce, he hired a private dancer to come to his house and do a striptease. My God, can you believe that? What must his wife think? You mean the wife he doesn't have? Who the fuck cares? Paul Pierce can do whatever the fuck he wants to. That is not, N-O-T, why ESPN got rid of him. ESPN got rid of him because LeBron James is not currently playing basketball. And that is literally why they hired him, is to troll LeBron because, well, Skip Bayless cost too much money. Fox offered Skip too much money, but we really missed our LeBron trolling. Wouldn't it be great if we got somebody from inside the NBA ranks? Ooh, that'd be cool. Oh, crap, LeBron's hurt. Here's your freaking pink slip, Paul. That's what happened there. Yeah. It's garbage. That's not real at all, man. And it's the same thing with Mark Carrano. He's been, apparently, let's say that it has been him the whole time. Well, he's been a dick a long time. Why all of a sudden is it a problem? Well, because it might cost you the next big signing. There you, I'm totally convinced that's what's going on there. Because Trips is not a fucking dumbass. No, well, it's WWE. You want to work here, right? Yeah, everyone wants to work here. Trips knows that's not the case. Yeah. Trips has signed too many kids to NXT and put them through their paces in a great promotion, and then watched them jettisoned off to the main roster, and they couldn't wait to leave. Mm-hmm. He knows what the score is, man. Guy's smart.
Yeah. He hears the stories. Yeah.
I agree. There are too many people that he knows how good they are, just getting stepped on. Anyway, that's dumb. I didn't mean to get sidetracked on that. But anyhow, I think the Impact pay-per-view is a really, really good, I don't know if first step's the right way to say it or not, but I'm really glad that it went so well and it was so positively received. That's awesome. Let's keep going, man. Let's have as many crossovers as we possibly can. I love it because this is what wrestling needs, man. It'd be awesome.
Yeah. It'd be that good stuff, man.
Hell yeah, man. We can discuss more good stuff, or we can go straight to the bad stuff. We can talk about the freaking Atlanta Diamondbacks doubleheader today. God almighty. Oh, man, they smushed us twice today, man. God.
It did not go well.
It didn't. It sucked, and I'm like, turned on the TV yesterday, and it's all rained out. It'll be a doubleheader tomorrow. I'm like, oh, that'll be neat. And then I watched the games, and I'm like, fuck. It was not good. I was wrong.
Man, that was the lead on one of the whatever news station I was listening to. Is like, well, good thing is Braves get to play 2 games a day. Problem is, it was double the disappointment.
Yeah, we played 2 god-awful games today. The only question is, which one do we play worse in? It was awful, and it sucked.
It was going into a weekend when it felt like, oh, man, we're getting things together. Man, things are coming along. No, wait a minute.
Yeah, wait a minute. I think what happened was maybe yesterday. These guys socked up the juju yesterday. Because when I tell you the fascinating things about the boys yesterday was I have heard so much belly aching and gnashing of teeth over the fucking goal they conceded. Here's the thing. That is the first goal Atlanta United have conceded all year. Well, they've only played 2 games. Champions League. We've played 4 games. 4 games, man. They've given up 1 goal, and it was in a game in which they scored 3. And I will say this on behalf of myself and anybody that watched or, as I did, listen to that game. Not only did we win 3-1 over Chicago, we beat the fucking Zebras too. That's one of the shittiest officiated games of all time. And it's weird, like I was talking earlier about the Academy jobbing Chadwick in the name of getting Twitter to melt down. That's really a thing. I'm telling you, that is a legitimate business practice these days, is to get Twitter a flutter because it will make you money. As long as people are looking at your shit or commenting on your shit or talking about whatever you've posted, you'll make more money off of it. Atlanta United has probably the loudest social media presence of any fan base in Major League Soccer. So if you consistently send referees to Atlanta that are going to fuck Atlanta, and boy, do they ever, you're going to get retweets and comments, and it's basically you win both ways, because that's the whole deal. The officiating absolutely sucked, and we still won 3-1. That's not going to keep people from complaining. So Atlanta wins. That's cool. League is happy because Twitter's melting down. I swear to God, that's a real thing. And it's like, considering the president we just had, I don't know how anyone cannot think that's real. But it's real. And the guy, if we'll actually get to the point where we can genuinely talk about legacy, that will be Donald Trump's legacy, man, is teaching the entire planet how to make a shit ton of money off of Twitter, man. Just keep pissing people off. It works. Anyway, I got sidetracked. But they sucked up the juju yesterday, and the Hawks absolutely sucked it up today, man. And I'm telling you, man, it's hard to say, because every time I talk about the Hawks, I am afraid that it comes across like, man, we're going to win the whole thing, baby. We're going to get rolling. It's going to be fantastic. All right, yeah. I don't think the Hawks are winning the East. I hope the Hawks make it to the second round of the playoff. But what I can tell you is, if you will tune in and watch them right now in the playoffs or whenever, you will have yourself a good time. That team is so good. Unbelievably good. We were down 8 to Milwaukee going into the fourth quarter, and they turned that shit right the fuck around. They scored 41 points in that fourth quarter, man. Lou Williams went crazy. He had 15. All 15 of his points came in the fourth quarter because he's Lou, and that's what Lou does. You and I talked about this. I'll stand by it. Going back to the beginning of the season, what did we talk about? We talked about Rajon Rondo, who is a fantastic player, but I was a little concerned with us putting that much money into a guy that was going to be a backup point guard. It's like, I don't know about that. I think we should shore up the 2. I wish we'd shored up the 2. Man, I wish we'd got somebody. Then what came down the pipe? That Bogdan Bogdanovic was coming. It's like, okay, that's what I'm talking about. Bogey, that's the kind of player that I was hoping we'd sign in the offseason. Okay, good job. That's awesome. Then we take Rondo. And apparently, and I hope none of this sounds like I'm dissing Rajon Rondo. I love the guy. But it seems to me that Rajon Rondo just incredibly, ingeniously comes to Atlanta because he knows I'll be backing the guy up, no problem. So I can play, get good minutes, ain't no thing. It's all good. And then when the trade deadline comes up, whoever needs a starting point guard with playoff experience, slot right in. That's exactly what happened. And I'm like, man, he was probably smart enough to see that coming.
Yeah.
But why am I so happy he picked Atlanta? Because we get Sweet Lou back. And we all love Sweet Lou because he's played for the Hawks before. He won his first of 3 Six-Man of the Year awards for the Hawks, and he's from right downtown. He's from here, man. Lewis Williams and freaking Bogdan Bogdanovic went nuts today. Bogey's going absolutely out of his mind. I mean, that guy is playing out of his mind right now, and we say this all the time, but it's true. In this case, without, and the fill in the blank changes, because we've had lots of injuries this year. Mm-hmm. But for the right now, it's without Trae Young, and they're getting it done, man. Freaking, I think it was, oh boy, I hope this is right. I'm going to err on the side of less positive. But I believe they said today that Nate McMillan is 20-7 since he became the head coach of the Hawks. 20-7. They are awesome. It is so much fun, man. They're killing it. It's just fantastic time to be a Hawks fan. It's great.
Yes. A good day was
Oh
had.
my God, it was nuts, man. It's in Milwaukee too, man. Milwaukee's above us, so it's like, yes, anytime we're in that patch, we're in that race for four, which there's like three of us in there, and it's like, man, just keep going, keep winning, guys.
Heck yeah, man.
I love it. It was awesome, man. Be Ric Flair. It's tremendous.
Tremendous.
Rick has me saying the word tremendous all the time. I'm like, man, I'm really glad I watched that shoot interview. I like the word tremendous.
It's tremendous. Gonna get some car shield. It's gonna be great.
It's absolutely tremendous.
That's about all I know. What's going on in the world right now?
Man, I think that's about it. Let me see. I made notes. I actually made notes this time, man. I buried them, so now I got to go find them. I'm an idiot. What I write down? Kenny Omega, Oscars, Hawks United. Yeah, I guess we got it. I guess that was everything.
Heck yeah, man.
Oh, back to Kenny for a second. I'm thrilled that Kenny Omega is now a 4-belt champ. That's cool.
Yeah.
Moving right along. I don't know who's next. Don't really care. Looking forward to it. I heard mentioned they were talking on that show I watched about the NWA. That'd be great. Kenny Omega versus Nick Aldis would be amazing. I'll reiterate, like I said last show, I would love to see Nick Aldis and Christian Cage. I would love that. And then if you want to do Kenny and Christian, I got no problem with any of that. Oh, that's cool. I'm still hoping that Ring of Honor will get involved. I don't know if they will. We'll see. Excuse me. Because the whole thing with New Japan is the earliest any of that could possibly happen is January, because I just don't see them doing it for, I mean, you'll have like maybe appearances and crap talk before then, but it just doesn't seem like they would actually bring people over for anything other than Wrestle Kingdom. And also, COVID is going crazy over there right now, so maybe there might not even be any point in trying to schedule any of this stuff.
Yeah, it's hard to say.
Yeah, it's tricky, man. But all the more reason to be so excited that tonight was successful and everybody was happy. And again, I feel bad because I didn't even watch the Oscars, man, so I shouldn't get on a rant. But I don't know. It's just it's stuff that you and I talk about, man. I mean, I know that Hollywood was banking on freaking Disney Plus to annihilate Netflix in about 48 hours. They won't have to worry about it anymore. But it's like, y'all are crazy, man. It's like that's not even the game that's being played anymore. It's not the same. I don't know why. I don't know who thought that was actually going to happen, but you're wrong. And I don't know. It's stuff like that frustrates me. But I tell you what, something interesting happened. I know something we can talk about real quick, and I'll leave you alone. I finally figured out. We were talking a couple of weeks ago, I think now, about Charisma Carpenter throwing Joss Whedon under the bus again, and it's like, man, we're doing this again. I thought we already did this with Joss. Well, I finally figured out why. Joss Whedon, as you know, everyone wants to talk about Favreau, Jon Favreau, Iron Man, Jon Favreau, Iron Man. Okay. And I like Favreau, and that's cool. Joss Whedon directed the Avengers, not Jon Favreau. It's Joss Whedon. And he was the original architect for the Avengers, and everybody loved him. And then Age of Ultron came out, and apparently he wanted more money, and they got pissy with him. And, well, Age of Ultron was really a disappointment to people in the studio. Really? It made more money than fucking Avengers 1. Are you fucking serious? But no, the fact of the matter is you got huffy because you had an employee that wanted to get paid what they were worth, so you threw Joss under the bus. And Warner Brothers couldn't wait to hire him to salvage the wreck that was Justice League. But now all of a sudden, the Snyder Cut is what we want of Justice League, and that's Warner Brothers, right? Same guys that are in business with HBO, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a second. I was watching a series on HBO called The Nevers, and I loved it. I thought it was great. Watched the first episode, was super impressed. I really, really loved it. And I'm very happy to say, no spoilers. I didn't know anything about it. I had no clue. And then it gets to the very end, and it says, directed by Joss Whedon, written by Joss Whedon. And I'm like, that's why we're mad at Joss. That's why we're trying to go after him again, because now he's doing writer-director shit for HBO. You know, that streaming service that really is taking the theater industry and wadding it up into a little ball and throwing that shit against the wall. It made a lot of sense to me then, and I got it. But the reason I mentioned Warner Brothers being in business with HBO is because how hilarious is that?
Mhm.
Warner made Joss the bad guy over Justice League. They're working with HBO, so you've created the villain you're not going to make money off of. This is smart. That's smart shit, man. It's like, man, good decision, y'all. Worked that well. But anyway, the Nevers is really fantastic. That shit was. I've only seen. I think they've only run 2 episodes. You know what? There's probably the third one tonight. But anyway, it's good. I really like it. It's basically, if you can imagine the X Men in like I don't want to say Victorian because that's not right, but old school like steampunk, but not without the steam uh, era England, but at like an all girls school. That's pretty. It's great. It is great. And you know, you've read Astonishing X Men, so you know how good Joss can handle the X Men
Yes,
style story. It's
very good.
great. Yeah, it's really great. I'm very happy about it. And again, I tip my hat to Warner Brothers for being so smart. Anytime you can build yourself a system where you make money coming and go, for example, perfect example, and I'm sorry to keep putting the guy over, but he deserves credit for this. All the companies that made the Make America Great hats, Make America Great Again hats, there was then a blue version that came out that was like Make America America Again or something like that. And a lot of Joe Biden voters bought those. Guess who made all the money off of those? So much of like anti-Trump garb and shit like that. Donald Trump made it himself because he's smart, and it sucks, but that's what you do. I mean, again, like we said, man, Twitter's ability to make money off of a negative is not new. It's just how much they can do. It's more. This is more of that social media stuff you and I've talked about. The reason it's so dangerous or profitable or whatever extreme thing you want to talk about is that it really does. The whole point in social media is that it taps your dopamine. That's the entire point. It's exactly how companies that made opioids pain medications, how they made their money, man. The brain chemical you are dealing with is not something people can say no to. You do not have a choice. You have a choice. You go to social media and your friends like your shit. It makes you happy. So it's silly, but that's true. That's real stuff, man.
What? Man, mentioning Disney Plus did remind me that Captain America and the Winter Soldier wrapped up this week, and
Oh wow, okay.
good Lord, is it good? And I say that because what's one of the neat things is this this going into a show that everybody kind of thought this is going to be a nice break. This is going to be a nice lethal weapon break of a cool action, and we got a good ass story along with it too.
Dude, that's
So
awesome, man.
it clicked all the boxes, and uh, one of the I don't know I haven't gone back and watched some of the episodes just to see if the title at the end did this every episode. I don't think it did, but that's one of the neat things at the end of episode. I think it was 6 episodes. As the title ends on the last episode, it does say indeed Captain America and the Winter Soldier, which I just thought, oh man, that was great. But one of the neat things that they did through, I think he shows up in freaking episode 2. The character Isaiah Bradley showed up, and you're kind of, are they seriously going to do this? And the I'm, I'm pretty sure it's the last episode, or I think it's the last episode is titled "Truth," and like, are they seriously going to do the Truth comic? And they did a version of it, but the point is that the character was already there. Isaiah Bradley's there, Elijah Bradley's there, so the seeds of Young Avengers are
Oh
already there.
yeah. Well, we talked about that with WandaVision.
Yeah,
I'm with you. It's like, dude, they've already got the two of them. So yeah, as soon as you say Bradley, I'm like, Young Avengers is coming, buddy. I love it.
yeah.
I'm with you. I love it. I think it's awesome. especially if they really do want to head into Kang territory. Because,
Mm-hmm.
brother, if you introduce Iron Lad
Mm-hmm.
as who he actually is in the book, oh man, that
Yeah.
shit will be wonderful.
So man, it just it got it did way more than I think people expected it to, as far as furthering uh, what they're going to be doing in the MCU along than people really thought it was going to. There's seeds of Secret Invasion in there. There's seeds of Young Avengers in there. A lot more than people realize, or expected anyway. But good God, it's a good show, and it made Winter Soldier a character. The whole time he's been around, it's kind of like, why does anybody like this guy? And then you watch the show, and you're kind of like, I kind of like this guy now.
Man, once you flesh people out, they're fine. But yeah, that's
Yeah.
the whole. That's what I'm glad to hear in two fronts, because God knows the Sebastian Stan fan base worship him so much that that's nice. They finally have something to really enjoy. That's
Mm-hmm.
cool, because apparently they were gonna do it anyway, because ain't nobody done shit with him till now. But
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. And then the other thing, like exactly like you're talking about with changing the name of the show, which I'm really glad that they did that, because that's the entire thing, man. Freaking Sam Wilson being Captain America, hook it up. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. And so I'm glad that was my whole thing for the show is like, man, as long as they wind up officially handing the mantle off to him, good. And really, when we started talking about U.S. Agent, I'm like, that sounds good. That's positive,
Yeah.
man. Because, it's new Captain America. It's all good. Lottie died. And it's like, okay, this is good. It's happening early, so we can put it in the story, so we can undo it at the end. I love it, man. That's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And that that was one of the neat points that somebody made, a review that I listened to, is Sam goes and he sits down with Isaiah, and he's getting into telling the story, like what they did to me. And I kind of thought, okay, he's going to give us like they're going to do a version of the true story and like a quick little montage. And they didn't do that. And the review I heard said, well, the reason why they didn't do that is because every minute of that is you're seeing Sam's reaction. And if they do the little recreation, you don't get that. I'm like, maybe, maybe not. But nonetheless, it's still powerful and it's still worth watching. So, and you get to hang out with Baron Zemo, and Baron Zemo fist bumping in the club. It was a fun thing. Uh, and and you get the seeds of Secret Invasion, and and I was expecting what the climax ends up being with the Secret Invasion. I thought she was going to walk off and go scroll on us, but no, that didn't happen. It's just straight up uh, Secret Invasion by means of Sharon Carter. And so I was like, man, that's good. And on top of all that, you have Madam Hydra being played by Julie Louis Dreyfus. On top of all that's going on, you're like, this crap, they packed a lot in to just 6 episodes. It's like, oh my God, this is good. Dang, it was fun. And uh, that's the question at the end of all the uh, Marvel shows that have been happening recently. Like, oh, what are they going to do with season two? Ain't going to be one. I don't. I'm not expecting a season two of this one. Just let them be the show, and we're furthering the ball down the field, and there'll be other shows coming.
Exactly. These are not shows.
Hmm.
They're 7-hour movies.
Yeah.
It's great. They're basically trilogies. This is it. Fuck season two. Who gives a fuck? The only reason you want
Yeah.
a goddamn season two of WandaVision is because the first one was so goddamn perfect you want something to bitch about. It's the same
Yeah.
thing with this. It's like, no, 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 let it go. This is great. This is great. And it's cool that we're still progressing forward and everybody's still excited. But on the same subject of what we were talking about earlier about, yeah, television is fucking destroying Hollywood right now. Hollywood's biggest player is the Avengers. That was a TV series. It's a TV series with a movie budget that stretched over 15 movies, and it's like, this is awesome. This is the future, man. Like I said,
Mhm.
who is not involved? What A-lister has said no?
Yeah.
None of them. Even Matt Damon, who was like, I'll never play a comic book character. I don't want to be Captain America. That's stupid. La-di-da, her. Still came back to play Loki in the freaking stage play, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because he's a good sport. But it's like, nah, man. Everybody says yes to this stuff now because this is the industry. That's
Mhm.
all, dude. If you don't want to be a Marvel comic book hero now, man, that's not your job. It's not the field for you. But
Mhm.
I love that the version of storytelling from television has taken over. It's just like, dude, you'll get another one. It's fine. It's coming. But I love it. I swear, I'm with you, man. I think that them just doing like little mini series is it. I love it. I just think it's so cool, man.
So, man, that's right when I thought I had wrapped up everything. That's the one thing I remembered. I need to mention that because it was good
Yeah,
as hell.
that's
It's
awesome, man.
definitely worth looking into, giving a
Excellent,
look
dude.
at.
Yeah, dude. I am. My next stand on Disney Plus will probably be after Loki's over, so I can just do a big sweep when I'm on there.
I want to say that starts first or second week of June.
Yeah, it's not far. I think it's the next one, so I'm like, yeah, that'll work.
It's coming
Excuse me.
up.
I need to watch WandaVision again too, because I like doing everything twice. So I'm like, yeah, that would be cool. You can make that work. You can make that happen.
Yeah, man.
Oh yeah,
Shoot. That's what's up, man.
that is what we do, man. I appreciate the call, man. Thank you for watching, y'all.
Heck yeah, man. I'll see y'all.
You
Bye.